each other, it starts to really build. Football becomes easy when they become great young men, in my opinion. They're going to do all those little things that you want. You have to have your staff has to model these high expectations, these guidelines. You can't let coaches slide with stuff. You just can't. And when they step out of line, you have to be the one to pull them back into it. You've got to have high expectations. You can't allow anybody to go down. It's not good enough. The hardest one at every level that I've encountered is to be completely selfless. In this particular generation, with Twitter, with all the social media, with kids, I even see kids in high school announcing that they're going to some other school, and they're blessed to go to a high school. I couldn't believe that crap I saw, and I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. But you gotta buy into whatever you are, be it an eagle, be it a saint, be it whatever you are. That's got to be the most important thing. And once they buy into that, half the battle, I think, is already won. I think you've come a long way. Player development, when I was at Nolan, was much more emphasized on the player acquisition. Now that I'm at Wesleyan, it's backwards. I got to go get the players, but then I got to develop them. It's amazing some of the kids that we get that are such great athletes, but they're not developed. They don't get it. They don't have a lot of basic things you want. They don't have the skills. They don't have the football IQ. And that's a lot that you're going to have to develop. Okay? Program's got to be in the community. It's got to be something that everybody wants to rally around and got to be a part of. You have to live that. You have to walk that. You have to, people got to see you. They got to know that you're about the whole place. If you're just about football, they don't let you go be on your island. That's fine. Just go be on your island. That's kind of about that to us. Probably one of the reasons why we were so successful was our overall toughness. We always felt like teams had a breaking point. We just had to find out where it was. And so that was always a point of emphasis. And it's not just physical toughness, it's mental toughness. It's emotional toughness, and that's the things that we'll talk about here in a minute that I think are really important. Again, every opponent has a breaking point, fine there. We preach that, preach that, preach that, preach that. And maybe in the fourth quarter, when that time comes, they're going to jump offside and that's the breaking point. They're going to fumble, okay, or they're going to give up the sacks. You got to be there to just hit all those little points. And that's something that we preach all the time. You got to speak in terms of success. This will happen. We will be successful. We will be in the state championship if that's your goal. We will be in the playoffs. We will get to the semifinals. That has to be where you start. Wherever you start planning, you start at the end and work backwards. Is what we used to always do. Go to the state championship game and we start planning backwards. How do we take for us to get to that point? Not a lot of people think that way, but if you start to think that way, believe that way, your kids start to feel that way. They're going to look for that success. They're going to believe in that success. Build a system around your kids, the kind of kids you're going to have. If you don't have many linemen, which I don't know anybody that has many linemen, it's hard to get into the bang-bang, really beating people in that now. Go to some options. Go to a spread. Go to something that's going to fit and look down through your system, what kind of kids you got to build around it. You got a really speedy kids, do it. Yeah.
Well, that's a quick question, Joe. And this could be another hour, so I'm not going to get too deep. Talk a little bit about your change or your move from Nolan to Wesleyan system-wise.
Okay.
Since you're on that. The system you ran at Nolan,
Right.
that transfer.
First year, well, when I was at Nolan, what we really wanted to do is we wanted to be countercultural. Everybody else was in spread, and we felt like if we could hang on to the football long enough, wear the clock down, we would have a chance. And we usually had pretty good linemen. They weren't beautiful linemen, but they were, tough, and some of them were, but they were really tough. So we went to a very physical ball control style, and that was part of the breaking point, philosophy. Go to Texas Wesleyan, think I'm going to do the same thing, but then when you have a lot of freshmen, a redshirt freshman offensive linemen, and they're 280, 290 going against 310, 315 that are cut up and ripped and full beards, every tack in the world on them, and that's what you're playing against, you're not going to be very successful. We got our head banged in pretty good. So as far as recruiting, what does the Metroplex really produce? A lot of great receivers. Quarterbacks that know the systems of spread. So we made the transition from the pro style to the spread air raid, which it was a lot of long nights for me. Just to even get in my head that I'm going to make that move. Made the move. We were horrible our first year. We scored around 8 to 9 points a game. Made the transition and averaged 30 points a game in 1 year. Now, that's pretty significant. It's actually really significant. Did we have better players? Yes, we had some better players, but we had a lot of the same ones. We had to change everything we were doing. We go to up-tempo. When we work out in the weight room, we are up-tempo. We are never more than 50 seconds doing one thing, and then we just practice that way. Our practices are really, really fast now. And now we're getting receivers into the pipeline. We're getting some of those linemen. Quarterbacks that really understand spread. Some dual threat that they got to make good decisions. So those are the kind of kids that we think are going to come down the pipe for us. So looking into what you're going to be doing, what you commit to it. You know, don't be so hard-headed and stubborn that you can't change. But know what you want to do and have an identity. I think that's really important. Coaching staff. This could be an entire presentation, in my opinion, Jim. This is what's going to make you be successful. Could really kill you all the other way around. And I will email this to anybody that wants it. So I have no shame in that. Your program vision is so important that everybody on your staff needs to be able to articulate it. And it doesn't need to be this long mission statement. That's not what I'm talking about. For us, it's build great young men that we can be proud of. That's our deal. And you got to be able to go through it and what it means and why it means what it means. Whatever it is at your place that you really want to hang your hat on, they have to be able to articulate it. You should have any assistant coach that works for you should be able to tell what the program is about, why it's important, and what the vision really is. Never believed in public confrontations. Nobody wins in a public confrontation. You might feel good because you told that coach or did whatever. All disagreements behind closed doors in a professional manner. But when you walk out of that room, everybody's got to be on the same page. And don't be so stubborn that an assistant coach isn't right. I've gone home and my wife tore my rear end up and she was dead right. Why are you going to play action in the boundary on second down all the time? Are you serious? And she's right, you know. Little things. Be on the same page with your assistants behind closed doors. You may have some risks or issues, settle behind. When y'all walk out, we're going to war for everybody's on the same page. Some people are control freaks. I'm one of those. So this next one's hard for me. The coordinators, assistants, you've got to give them the authority to do what it is they're responsible for. Give them the responsibility, but also give them the authority to run it right. And that's hard. You're the one that's got to oversee it. I was a position coach. I always did the quarterbacks, but I made sure I always knew that everybody was on the same page, and I gave them their responsibility. But if they screwed it up, we had to have a conversation after practice or whatever to fix it immediately and move on. Trust your coaches enough to be there. If you can't trust them, you don't need them. You got to get somebody you can trust that's going to do what you want done, because at the end of the day, your name's on it. Your name's the one on it. All business got to stay in-house. I don't like hearing that the business behind the closed doors ever out in the open. That's not a good thing at all. Everything that we do has got to support the overall vision and have a 24-hour rule. If you don't have a 24-hour rule, you probably should get one. That if anybody you deal with, a parent, each other, and something's hot, give it 24 hours, we'll revisit this tomorrow. 9 times out of 10, it resolves itself. Now you're calm. So many things happen in hot moments that shouldn't happen, and you regret. Don't go there. Don't get drawn into it, because I'm going to tell you what, everybody wants to draw you off sides. Everybody wants to get you to say a soundbite that they can then hook. Back off, take a deep breath, let it settle down, it'll be a lot better. I believe in coaching education and conferences. Like I said, when I was young, first 10 years, I knew it all. I didn't go to many of these. But then when I started going, I started seeing all the guys kicking my rear end in those meetings. I said, you know what? I better get in there and learn what I can learn from whoever I can learn from. If I can go to a conference and I can learn one thing that helps the program, hey, that was a well-spent trip for me. I always felt that way. Support your coaches on doing it. Make it available to them. If they want to go visit a staff, or y'all want to go as a staff, and they want to learn something, make sure that it's good. It's going to be something to help the vision of whatever it is you're looking to do. Mentor your coaches. One of the best things you can ever do for them. Mentor your coaches. If you see them screwing up a little bit, tell them. You can guide them. You can get them where they need to be. Some conversations got to be rougher than others. When you get a chance to do the right thing with them, help them get to where they need to be. They represent all of us. Everybody, anybody you coach with represents you. Just like your players, right? You never hear, it was Johnny Smith that got in trouble. It was that football player got in trouble. Or that coach did this. It's not Coach Jones or Coach. They're going to go ahead and let you know. Next one, something I'm real big on, is transactional versus transformational coaches. There's two kinds of coaches, I think, in our business. I think there's those that really are in it to get their kids to become men, to really get them to where they can be. And there's guys that are out there using those kids and using each other as transactions to go see what they can get for themselves. That I can't handle. I don't know about y'all, but that part of it bothers me when I see those kinds of coaches. And I call them out on it myself. I had one on my staff at Western first year. He was gone. I had the day after the season, I let him go. I had to let him hang himself a little bit. But when kids or other coaches or anybody is a transaction as opposed to you looking to see what you can do to help them become something great, you need to check yourself. You need to really think about it. Not big on negative yelling and screaming. To me, it's a clear sign that you weren't prepared for practice. You were insecure. Either you don't know what's going on, so you're covering it, or you don't know how to teach. Our practices are not loud at all. It's a lot of teaching going on. Now, when they get lazy, heck yeah, you rip their ass. I mean, that's the time to get on them. If they're lazy or they do something they're not supposed to do consistently, then you got to raise your voice. But if you're a yeller all the time, it's crying wolf, and I've seen those coaches burn out. Knowing your players, really, 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 really important. Know who they are, not just, hey, Johnny, and so on and so. Know their family background, a little bit about them. Know if they're in a bad situation, if the parents are split, if the sister was, a great athlete, or just know a little something about all of them. That'll mean so much to them. I'm not saying pry on their private lives, get on their social medias. I should know. But know something about it so that you can relate to them. And you may know why they're having a bad day, when they're having a bad day, or when they do something great, you know about it. You can always brag on it. That means a lot to them. They got to know you love them. Once they know that you love them, they will fight like crazy for you. If you don't, then they're going to check you out. Know what they value, what they are. If it's a guy that you've got to get onto hard, and that's the only way you can coach him, know that. If he's a guy that you have to, typically your quarterbacks, you can't yell at quarterbacks. At least I've never done it successfully. Screws them up, and then you've done 6 weeks of coaching. Quarterbacks, you don't want to yell them at. I don't think. As soon as you do, you undo them. But know how to relate to them. Know how to coach them. Some guys, if you don't get in them hard before a game, you're not going to get anything out of them. But you got to know that about them. You got to know their fears. You got to know what a kid fears. You got to know what he dreams to be at times. It sounds trite. It's really not. If this kid fears failure so bad that he freezes up in games he can't go, or if he fears being really great because then the expectations get higher. And I've had guys like that, and that's a weird dynamic. But know what they fear and know what they really dream and want to be. And don't be afraid to have conversations about where they want to go and be in long term, down the road. Another area, their girlfriends. I'm not saying get in their business, but if there's a breakup, there's a fight, you better have somebody on the team that knows that Johnny you're going to get it from them. You're not going to get it from them directly. Because if your kid's out there pouting around and you don't know why, and he just got fired at lunch, it could really compound them in a hurry. You don't want to do that. I always ask my guys, where do you see yourself in 10 years? Most guys, this age, can't see past 15 minutes. It's tough on them. Make them think long range, where they want to go, what their plans are. That will help you to know how to motivate them. That will help you to know them a little bit better. What makes them tick. And then that way you'll always have a better relationship and you get the most out of them. Don't be fooled by appearance. Some kids can really play that are smaller. Some kids that are really big can go outside and do something. I had a receiver, I moved to defensive tackle back, I think it was 2003. He ended up being all-state from a receiver at 180 pounds. I've used some girls that come in and helped us as far as scouting, being in the box and coming to film sessions. And they were sharper than some of my assistant coaches I had at the time. Really sharp. Have an open mind on who can help you and utilize it. You can find all kinds of students that can help you different ways. If they can help break film, man, bring them in. If they can help spot the box, if they can do whatever, utilize those things. If you have a kid that he's tall and skinny, you don't think he can play much, put him on the outside, see what he can do. Don't be fooled by how they look. See how they play. Hardest one, in my opinion, to get truly great leadership. And I stole most of this gentleman that I got. Gentleman named Underwood. We use a leadership council and a captain model. I don't believe in appointing X number of captains. I don't need 4 captains to fill those chairs. I need real captains. If they are what we want, and we want guys that will do the right thing, aren't afraid to call somebody out if they need to, but also they got to understand leadership's lonely, is it not? Because you're the one guy that has to do the right thing all the time. We had our kids do, and they're starting to do with our new ones, applications, a resume, cover letters, goals with an action plan for the job. Okay, you got the job, now what are you going to do with it? Why do you say you're going to do this? How are you going to get that? And then we do a panel interview. We do the interviews. I do one early spring, as you start off season, another one beginning of the summer, and then right before the season. And it's great because that beginning, you just collect the documents. On the first interview, you kind of go through it real lightly with them. Hey, that's great, it looks good. Summer, but you check a little bit. Well, here's what happened in spring. You had this on paper, but I'm not seeing all that here. By the end of summer, you'll know what you really got, and by going into the season. I think anytime you write something down for yourself, it's a lot more powerful than what you say. Because now you can go back and refer to it, right? And you can say, well, you wrote this and this, things we talked about. Interviews done by a head coach, OC, DC, and strength coach. Or if you have another coach you really want in there. And it's panel style, so it's tough. I've had kids get up out of that chair is freaking wet with sweat. Because we grill them. Because we got to trust them. We got to know it. One of my favorite questions to ask those guys is, if I told you could be all-state or win a state championship, which one would you do? Which one would you take? And they just, and some of them just freeze like deer in the headlights. And the right answer, obviously, is win state, because if you win state, you're probably going to get more notoriety and then you can go down the road. Another question I used to always like to ask them is, you're in a drill and you're trying to do the right thing and you're really encouraging them to do the right thing. And they turn around and tell you, go F yourself. What's your reaction? I want to know. If you're going out and you're hearing a big party's going to go down, you know it's going to destroy our team. How do you handle it? This thing can take you a lot of different directions, you know, but I think those are important questions. And I always like to ask them their fear and their strengths and their weaknesses and let them tell me. And a lot of times you find that I'm the first one that's ever asked you those questions. And I think it's really, really powerful because the relationships you build in that room takes off. You got to trust these guys. When you're not around, you got to trust them. Some of those guys aren't ready for it, so we make them the lieutenants. And there's been years where I've had one captain. There's been years where I had 0 captains went and followed lieutenants and still did well. But to try to put somebody in a position where they can't just because you're trying to fill the spot, it doesn't work for either side. So just make sure that it's somebody that you can trust and who's going to fit your model. So that's the lieutenants. Building toughness. Another incredibly challenging thing, especially in today's world as opposed to even 10 years ago. You got to challenge them, you got to push them, you got to get them to where they can be. Us, it was always summer workouts. If we had a great summer, we could all look around each other and say, well, if we stay healthy, we got a shot this year. Or we'd say, you know what, we're just going to be a long season. I just don't know. Well, we used a lot, we always use groups because it makes accountability. Workout groups, and we like to always, if we could, put younger ones with older ones in there just for mentoring purposes. I think that's pretty important. We used weight suits. They were called the game breakers. How many of y'all have used weight suits or game breakers or anything of that nature? It's something to look at. They're now called the power suits. And what they are, it had a pound of weight. It's like rubber weights in a zip-up suit, and it was like a wrestling suit. It'd be a pound here, pound here, pound here, pound here, on the scaps, on your front and on your back. And you talk about burning that core and making them really tough and really strong and really functional. That was something that we did that I think separated us a lot. Because we were just in better shape, it seemed like a lot of times. We played 7-on-7 in those suits. We worked out in those suits. The basketball team played in those suits. They did everything in them. They're about, at that time, they were about $200, about $200. We had our kids buying as many as we could. Say, well, you know, Coach, I can't afford that. Look at their shoes. I said, you afford those? That's $200 cleats. Give it a shot. And if they couldn't, we had an inventory. We ended up buying up to about, I guess it was like 30 of them that we would count during the summer. If you don't take anything else out of this, you need to look into power suits. They are about as good as there is. And they're better because they cut the sleeves off so quarterbacks can throw, guys can play basketball in them. And it's amazing because you can simulate all game situations in them. And we did. Our soccer team used them, girls soccer, men's basketball used them. It's phenomenal.
So in football, summer only?
Summer only is when I used them. And because, hey, when they were done with those suits, they wanted them off. Because it burns them up. That's the only time we'd use them. And it became we built a culture of, it was really tough to get to that level. And we made our kids strive, and you were one of the, it was cool to get to that group. You wanted to be in the game, in that game breaker super. Not everybody got to do it, you had to earn the right to get there. And it was about how you worked, your attendance, and the way you performed. And we did a lot of caveman workouts. Are y'all familiar with caveman workouts? The MMA, it was kind of CrossFit, high intensity, going for about a minute. We would do the med ball slams, squats with the chains on our neck, under and over the hurdles. Just a lot of stuff just to really get them going fast and bursting and burn them up. And the caveman workouts, I believe, built a lot of mental toughness that we wouldn't have gotten elsewhere. You can only do so much in a slow workout. He did it, and that's great. But if you're challenging them, and the culture is, I got to get to that. I want to work as hard as him. I want to be there. You've done something. You've done something. It takes a little while. Like I said, we use them all the time. I think you got to build toughness in your practices, situationally, not physically beat them up. Goal line, put them in a bad spot. For the offense and/or defense, long third down sessions, we would do that a lot. How do we convert? What do we do? Fourth downs, how are we going to handle fourth down? So whenever fourth down came up, we knew exactly how we were going to tackle. We didn't wait, just did it. I think something that we practiced was reaction to tough officiating. I think you got to practice that. We did it on Wednesdays there, do it on Thursdays at Weston. We do game simulation, and as soon as we just have a bad call, all of a sudden back them up, and you just get to see the reaction. You get the chance to coach them on how to react to that. That's called preventative proactive coaching in my book, because there's nothing more embarrassing than a kid going and doing this garbage and that represents you. And everybody says, well, that's tolerable. No, it's not, but you didn't practice it. Practice it. And know who the hotheads are. That's the ones you want to first, really go ahead and call a bad call on, and make it a bad call. They're going to face bad calls. It's going to happen. Again, always expect success, demand great effort, and you always have them overcoming adversity within the practices to help build it. Always doing that. We always said that at the end of the years we want to be our very best. So we don't try to burn them all the way up to this point. We would push them, and then we start to see the fatigue of it back off and get them to where they were peaking in during the playoffs. That's not easy to do, but you just don't want to overdo it. Player development. Your terminology has to be consistent. It has to be consistent, no matter what. If you have a junior high program, fantastic, get it there. Your freshman, your JV, whoever you got, that's got to happen. Those core principles have to be echoed all the time. You got to talk about it. Whatever you are, whatever your echoes are, whatever your principles are, you got to go. Start the vision at the bottom level. Let them see it. Let them talk about it. Your freshman, whoever it is you have at your bottom level. If you have a junior high, instill it down at that level, and always talk about it. Always talk about it. You can bring some varsity players up on a Friday night look, let them do it. We used to have two or three guys that would come up because they performed so well in the week and had a great game in the JV game. Let them dress out. Nice, easy reward for them. We always had the varsity players work the JV games, freshman games, whatever, to help with that. To be there for them so they could talk to those young guys and tell them what they saw well, what they didn't see well, brag on them to do it. Once somebody did it for them, it's their responsibility to do it for somebody else. And so that way you start to build that camaraderie from the bottom up. We always went positional groupings as well. Quarterbacks, I always had the older quarterbacks talking to the younger ones, all the way up and down. D ends, D linemen, whoever. You want to build a legacy. You want them to have that, well, this is how we do it. This is just our way of doing it. If it goes through the players, it's always more effective. Players, not robots. If they know what you want, let them play. If they're gonna make calls, let them make the calls. 7-on-7 in the summer for us, my quarterbacks called all the plays. I just let them do it. It was a great time for them to fail, a great time for them to do well. 2-minute offenses, told them what I wanted, we teach it, work on it a little bit, and then they did it the rest of the time. Because it's a lot faster that way, at least it was for us. And they know what they can do well, and they know what to look for. Make it easy on them, don't make it hard, don't make it difficult. Have a few things that they can do, what to look for, let them do it. Free safeties, let them change whatever coverages and whatever they want to do, if it fits within your scheme. If they own it, and they screw it up, now if they miss the call, they better make the play, right? They make the play, then it's okay. If they don't make the play, then it's not. I think organization cannot be overstated at all. Like I said, we always start at the end and work our way backwards. Not that every practice was completely done, but we had our templates of what we wanted to do. We changed it from week to week a little bit on who we were playing, how we were playing. Make sure your parents know everything, your administration, your players. Don't go out ever unprepared for practice. That's a waste of everybody's time, and it's incredibly inconsiderate. Because to me, that's the most valuable time I have in the week is when I have on the field with my team. That is the most important time because it's so limited, it seems like. You don't get to do everything you want to do. So you got to be really smart about it. Make sure you're detailed in all your progressive, your installs, how you're going to go, that you take all the steps, you don't skip steps. Game plans, clear, all that. I know all you guys do this already, but it's just, I think it's something that needs to be discussed. Every 5 minutes, I think, of practice should be scripted. You should know exactly every 5 minutes. And if you got the coach that continues to say, one more play, coach, one more play, you got to move on. You just have to. It didn't work, right? So if you're not executing now, it's going to work on Friday night. Why waste the practice time? For me, I always buy equipment after the season. I don't know about y'all, but it's the best time to buy, and I always get it a lot cheaper. So get your teams always on a consistent routine. So that was my piece of that. Practices. I hear this for the high school, and you bump everything back one day for us. On Monday, fundamentals. We did fundamentals every single Monday. We do fundamentals every single Tuesday now. It doesn't matter. We're going to tackle, we're going to block every single Tuesday. We're going to be Monday. We always do special coverages because you want to run some on Monday. We would do our special teams coverage units. That's the quickest way to get beat. If you can't punt and you can't cover on kickoff, you're going to get beat. So we'd work on that. Tuesday, review the Indian installs. We would install whatever we're going to do by position group. And then get into the team on Tuesday, then situate. Whatever's the most important situations for your program is what you need to practice on Tuesday. If you're a 2-minute offense guy, go. If you got to red zone, you struggle, get it fixed, get down there, do it. Wednesday for us, and then Thursday at the other level is all team situations. All team and specials return units. That's what we would do. Get all that in, script everything. Everything's got to be scripted. Thursdays or Fridays, how many of y'all run a Hollywood script or a script of a bunch of different situations to run? Anybody? It's a great thing to do. We do 24 of them, 24 quick periods. Pinned, down on the 5, we got a punt, got to get it out. We got a safety kickoff return. We got a safety kick. We got to score from 3 plays. We're on the 35. We got to get in field goal position now. How are we going to get there? 2 or 3 2-minute offenses. Just killing the clock. Teaching your quarterback that we don't go down. So if you're loose and scrambling, slide. Running backs. How are we going to run our 4-minute offense? Have all that built in on the Thursday. If you go out on a Thursday and it's just kind of grab tail run around time because you feel good the week's over, you've missed an opportunity to really practice stuff that you normally wouldn't practice. Because it's that day of, different situations or awkward situations or, now you know where your kicker is. You want the right hash or left hash? Can you hit from the 20? Can you hit from 25? Fake punts. I think fake punts are the most underrated thing you can have. You've got to have them. Saturdays, light lift. For us, it's Sundays. Every 5 minutes scripted, we talked about that. All drills should be printed out or drawn up. Do not go to the field with them not done. Always have everything scripted. If you're not scripted, you're wasting time. You know, all your plays, what personnel groups. Always practice somebody getting hurt, because somebody's going to. Who's the backup? Get them in. I think that's always really, really important. Quarterbacks, your deep snappers, all those guys should always warm up around. You should never tell a quarterback, hey, it's time to get on. That should never come out of your mouth. And you should always be able to you know, they always got to be ready to go. They got to be your extension of you. I think that's always important. Somebody's got to be on the clock. Somebody got to be on the clock. Keep you on time. We're real big on filming every practice and then sending out huddle notes at night. And does it work? Yep. But it's worth it. It's just like having a meeting. These kids have homework, they got a lot of stuff to do, but at least they can now go back and they can watch their film cut up or watch practice, and then they can see the notes popping up on what they need to work on. You make a lot of hay doing that. You get them really prepared by doing that, I think, in my opinion. I've always felt that way. We do it, it takes time, but it's worth it. Community support. How are you going to get everybody involved? How's everybody going to be for you? You got to know all the stakeholders. Your parents are going to be in no matter what. Put them to work. Ask them how they can help. You'll be shocked what they may do for you. We had team moms, and man, they cooked for us. Pre-game meals on Fridays. After the games, they took care of that. Worked the concessions. Everything was taken care of, but you got to involve them. People that are afraid of their parents are missing a real good opportunity to engage them and bring them in the program. Ingratiate. For me, I've used a lot of students, or I use different people like that at this point. But boy, if you give them a role, a whole lot better than looking for a role. And you don't have conversations about playing time. You just don't. It's a real hard conversation. Everybody's going to be pinning you up for that. They're going to want to talk about that. Like I tell mine, I don't treat everybody equal, but I treat everybody fair. You will get the playing time that helps us be successful. Lower levels, yeah, everybody plays. Everybody does. But at the center of the level, I'm not going to have that conversation with you because then I'm talking about somebody else's child. I'm not going to do that. He can do this and this and this different. That'd be great. But you're not going to talk about another kid in this room with me. It's not going to ever happen. So that's something that I was always very, very strong on. As for non-football matters, you'd be shocked what they'll bring to you. You'd be shocked. They may have a great idea. Listen to them. Student body, get as many people involved as possible. Make it a very positive, big-time experience. If you just show acknowledgement to the volleyball team and whoever else is around, man, you'd be shocked how they want to get on board. They're ready to come help. They want to help with it. But if it's all about you, it's all about football only, get on your island. You're by yourself. But get everybody involved and encourage them. We'd love to have you do it. I saw that y'all won last night. That's awesome. Now you're second in district, whatever. It means a lot coming from you. A lot more than you think. Administration and faculty, always let them know what your vision is. Always let them know. Involve them whenever you can, however you can. Don't be the guy that goes to a teacher to fight for a kid's grade. It's not gonna be good. It's just not. The more you support faculty on the front end, the more they're gonna want to help you on the back end and help your kids on the back end. But if you're one of these guys that, he really did this, did that, it's too late. You're at that point now, and you could have handled that early up front, a lot earlier, by just having positive relationships with them as much as possible. And there's going to be people in your school that are going to want to see you fail. You know that. Everybody knows that. Faculty members that are jealous. I deal with it. Professors. I have to make an effort to go out and meet those people and really tell them what we're doing, why we're doing it, and what we want these guys to do. That's important. Make the games a showcase. And every Friday night game on every campus should be a showcase for the whole community. Everybody comes to that, right? If they want to have little announcements or whatever, hopefully you don't have to get involved in that, but allow it if it's appropriate. If you can. The last one, playoff preparation. Playoff preparation. It took me a long time to figure out the playoffs. It really did. But once we did, we got in a really good rhythm for a while. Find out when that championship day is. If it's at all possible, you play at that date and that time. Like a Friday night or Saturday afternoon, whatever. And I learned that from Gary Oliver when he was at Bishop Lynch. When he retired, he had really good runs. So I said, Gary, can you tell me one thing about playoff preparation that you can share that was really helped you? And that's what he told me. He says, if it's a Saturday at 3 o'clock, you try to play every game Saturday at 3 o'clock to get your time clocks, your bio clocks. He was right. I mean, it made a big difference for us. And, you know, if you got to travel, just to find a way, if you got to go down the night before, do it. If you don't want to get off the bus after 4 hours, if you can at all help it. I mean, if you got to beg, borrow, whatever you got to do to get there, to prepare your guys, do it. Do it. Shorten your practices. Playoffs, shorten those practices. 10 to 20% cut back. Cut back, a lot less contact. We got a lot less contact. We had very physical football teams, but we would cut back, and it made a difference. We got healthier, we got fresher as it went along. It was just a lot better. Take away whatever people like to do best in all phases. Take away whatever they like. If they're a running team, blunt the running. If they're defense, they like to blitz a lot, you got to make them pay for it. Got to go to the top on it. In special teams, if they had that one guy, he's not going to be the guy to beat us. Somebody else might. We're going to make sure that joker doesn't do this. That goes for what we do now. We do the exact same thing. Take away that. Always have a trick play ready. That's a great Thursday practice deal throughout the whole season. Always have one ready. Practice it. Practice it 3 times. It's ready by playoffs. And you're going to do a little more. Fake punts are awesome, I think, and a great way to change momentum, and they really do the playoffs. And if you run one early on, make sure you have something that looks like it later, so they can work on that one while you do something else. Always burn it. Special teams, we always dedicate more time to special teams in the playoffs. Games are going to get tighter, field goals. We won three of those championships on special teams play. Margin for error was tiny, man. It was tiny. We made the extra point, they didn't. We made a field goal, they didn't. We blocked a punt. That's the difference in the ballgame. Everything else was the same. All that other preparation, all that other stuff you've done comes down to special teams. Make sure you're good at it. Make sure you work it. And once you get to that point, gentlemen, there's no days off. Once you're in the playoffs, it's time to do everything. I never worked on Sundays when I was in the high school. We don't work on Mondays, college level. You gotta have one day to kind of clear your head. Maybe not completely off on Monday, but you gotta have some sanity. So that's what we do. Questions? Any answers? Any comments? Did this help anybody? Okay, so this is my email. Write it down. If you want it, I'd be happy to send this presentation to you. I wanted to give you something that I hoped you could use. And I've done it for 30 years. I started out as a student coach. I was at Hyde Park when I was in college. My last couple of years, I worked under Donnie Wigington. I worked under Danny Evans, who was a basketball coach. We won 2 state championships in basketball. Hyde Park had never been good in football. I got to work with Donnie, who was the backup quarterback at James Street. And that was really cool. So we went to the semis, got the job at TK Borman as a 23-year-old. Hey man, I'm going to tell you, everybody in the world questioned you when you're that young, looking for you to fail. And we got to be successful, so that was great. But you know, I really believe in TAPPS. I believe in football is outstanding. Since I get to watch a lot of games, be a huddle or go scout or whatever, I'll tell you what, football in this room, there's a lot of great coaches, a lot of well-prepared, well-coached teams. Keep it up. Keep stealing from people, man, as far as you know, what you can learn and apply and know that you're doing a great job. No question. Well, thank y'all very much for being here. I appreciate it. I'm around for any questions you may have, and if you want, hit me up, and I'll be happy to send it to you.